Oh, where you go?
Yeah, I love that.
When's our next council meeting?
Oh, Mike.
Meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, May 1st. It is now 7 p.m. Town Council meeting in the Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. John, will you lead us in prayer?
Let's bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we have gathered here this evening as your humble servants. We seek to represent the good citizens of the town of West Warwick with honor and integrity. May our efforts be blessed with your divine wisdom. May our personal faith give us the strength to act honestly and accordingly in all matters that come before us tonight. Amen.
Amen. Angel, listen to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilman Padula,
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico,
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Here.
There is a quorum. Minutes of the previous meeting resolved that the minutes of the March 27th, 2018 FY19 budget workshop are hereby accepted.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agendas, license applications. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Public discussion?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I made a request of Councilman Messier, and he just came in at the last minute. I'd like to have one of our councilmen make a motion that we move public comment to the forefront of tonight's meeting.
Can I ask why?
Because there's a lot of public comment, and it has to do with a lot of things that are on the agenda.
Well, you can speak on topic.
Yeah, I'm letting you speak on topic, so.
When something comes up, and if you want to speak, you can speak in favor or against.
Okay,
Yeah, there's no sense of.
No sense in moving it up.
okay. Very good, thank you. Well, this is topic on license.
Well, we're on the licenses now, correct? So if you want to speak, you can.
Perfect.
Yeah, we did.
We made a motion.
Motion and second.
Okay, back, Tom Oates, Colonial Way. Back at the council meeting on February 27th, agenda item, theatrical performances, shows, exhibition licenses. One of the three events applied for by the community marketing was objected to by Councilman Licciardi due to the fact that, again, a license which falls outside the guidelines of your contract with the applicant, that item being the sale of alcoholic beverages. I turn your attention to the contract where it states on page 4, line item 7, paragraph E, alcohol and smoking are strictly prohibited from the Civic Center property, so on and so forth. As per Solicitor Williamson, he said he had been working with Lori to modify and clarify that contract on the evening of the 27th. That was 2 months ago, precisely 46 business days ago. Can you tell me what progress has been made with that contract? The reason I ask again is that you're voting tonight to violate your own contract again. And a Class P license, regardless of what you've heard or read, a Class P license does not give anybody the right to violate contract, municipal, or state law. And that's all for that item.
Thank you.
Can we answer that? How are we coming on that contract?
I think Lori's here. I don't have anything to report tonight. Had you notified me earlier, perhaps I could have, but I don't have anything to report to you tonight.
On the 27th, you stated that you were working on that contract 46 days ago. How long does it take? I could have done it in 10 minutes.
Well, why don't you go do it right now and give it to council?
All right.
That's
give me a Sharpie and I will cross out alcohol. And then your contract is okay for these gentlemen to run their event, which is a great event. They have another one coming up. You violated your own contract by having an event Sunday with alcoholic beverages in violation of your contract, and you're mistaken with a Class P license allowing it.
Whether you disagree or agree.
You violated your contract,
then
plain and
file-
simple. It's
file-
legal
file a
documentation.
lawsuit- File a lawsuit to restrain and join the town council from doing
You
this then.
had suggested that once before, but you are egging the council to vote and approve an item that violates your own contract.
We disagree, correct, on this issue?
You and I?
Yes.
Most assuredly.
Okay. Now, I have got a position that I provided my clients with. You disagree with that position. You have a right to challenge that.
What is your position? That you can vote to violate your own contract?
Tom, I'm
That it's
Tommy-
not in
Tommy,
writing.
Mr. Oates, excuse me. I'm not going to keep telling you the same thing.
You told me this
Mr.
on
Oates,
excuse me,
Mr. Oates.
excuse me, excuse
No,
me.
I want
Tom,
to finish.
Tom, let him
No.
finish.
You
wait.
just keep interrupting, and I'm trying to tell you, if you disagree with what I've advised my client, you have the right to walk into the Kent County Superior Court, seek relief by filing the appropriate petition or complaint. That's all I can tell
The
you.
petitions and complaints have been filed already on a lot of these things, but I'm asking you,
When?
what have, excuse me, what have,
When?
excuse me, my turn.
You just said that they've been filed.
Yes.
When?
The people are working on a lot of things with this at the state level. So now my question again is, on the 27th, you said that you have been, that's past tense. So that's a minimum of 2 months and a very minimum of 46 business days. What have you done in 46 business days with the contract that you promised to take care of on the 27th?
Tom, one, I didn't promise anything. And
Oh,
two-
yes, you did. You said you
No,
were working on the
no,
contract.
Tom, please, don't put words into my mouth. I
You
said I
s-
was working on it, correct?
Yeah, working,
Did I
past tense,
Did I
yes.
promise you that it was gonna be done by a date certain?
No, you did not.
Okay, that's all I have to say then.
But 46 days to line out one item? We have a solicitor that comes in here. I mean, do I keep going or should I come up for the next item?
Well, are you done with this one?
You got me off guard here. That was 2 months, 46 days ago. On the subject of contracts, does the town of West Warwick have a contract with Solicitor Al Di Fiore, a distinguished and accomplished attorney in his own right that serves these taxpayers? Do we have a contract with Al Di Fiore?
We have an agreement yet?
We don't have a contract. We have one with Tim. I don't understand why we don't have one with Al. And upon looking at the solicitor's contract, I have a couple of questions on that. One of the duties of the solicitor, number 5, is drafting and/or reviewing of ordinances, resolutions, rules, and policies. Why is the town using the services of Al Di Fiore?
Point of order, this has nothing to do
It's not on the
with license.
agenda, you're right.
Oh, you told me to continue, so we'll
Well, I
be
thought it
up
had
for
something
this.
to do with licenses, because you said it was still on licenses.
No,
That has
this
nothing
is
to do with
for the
it.
contract. We'll come back on this.
Thank you. Any other comment on the licenses?
I gotta recuse myself because my name's on the, license application.
Which one?
Which one?
Salvage,
I still haven't got an answer. I thought I'd walk back and we'd have an answer.
Tom, it's not complete, that's the answer.
What have we done in 46 days?
That's a question,
Not done.
that's a question between Lori and the solicitor.
And I'm asking it.
And the
What have
solicitor
we
just
done in
said,
46 days? Have we looked at it?
oh,
No.
I can tell you it's been looked at
Wait,
because,
wait,
wait a minute,
wait.
I can tell you it's been
Tom,
looked at
Tom.
because it's been sent to me.
Tom,
And how come in 46 business days, we've done nothing with this, and now we have events that we're approving that are in violation of your contract? You can't violate your own contract, and you can't violate state law
Thank you, Tom.
or municipal law. Can't do it. You're mistaken on that.
prove me wrong.
Can we speak
pardon?
about the Civic Center
I said,
contract now?
prove me
Is that-
wrong.
When it comes to court, you will be proven wrong.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comment on licenses? Hearing none?
Are we going on them all, or are we
wait,
doing them
wait.
separate?
Councilman Padula recused himself.
From all of them, or just his done?
There's one issue that needs to be addressed regarding the, brawl for it all.
Brawl for it all, or?
Did anybody, regarding the, liability insurance. Address the USA Boxing Inc.'s policy that clearly indicates that the event date is February 17th, 2018, and is not specific to the next date. The policy indicates that it's good 1/1/18 through 1/1/19 for both the commercial general liability and the umbrella. But as far as the name insured, under LBC New England, Brawl for It All, it's got the event date of February 17th, not the newest date.
Once we get approved, if we get approved, we pay USA Boxing, and then they automatically.
You just want to come to the mic and state that for the record.
Once we get a date in order, once we have a date set, we pay our USA Boxing, and they start the contract from there.
So my question is, the rider for this contract regarding this insurance policy, once you get a date that's been secured, you can provide us with the rider that's got the specific date on it?
Yes,
Right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Again, on Brawl for It All, and this is on item M on the tonight's agenda, but it still is to do with Brawl for It All. The town is in dire financial straits. I'd like to know why we spend money on stationery and postage. 2 envelopes, 2 sheets of paper, and 2 stamps wasted.
Tom?
To
That's paid for
notify,
by the applicant.
beg your pardon?
Tom, those fees are paid for by the applicant. We do not waste the money.
You should charge the town back for the $1.25 for the stamps and the envelopes and the letters that had to go out, because you sent notification to Valley Country Club Investors LLC, and you sent it to the West Warwick High School. Why? Because on February 6th, at the council meeting, you stated that the town owns the high school, and the town is located at 1170 Main Street, and they were indeed notified. That was a quote. And as far as Valley Country Club is concerned, for your information, that's the night I was told to get a law book and learn what I was talking about. It's located in the city of Warwick, and the town is under no obligation to notify anyone outside of the town, outside the town limits of any events. So why tonight did we notify the high school and Valley Country Club when on February 6th you said that we were under no obligation to notify them per law?
It's a courtesy, Tom.
It's a courtesy. Well, why? Why wasn't it?
Because the clerk runs the list of addresses around there.
That map has changed from that night to this.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any other comment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
3 to 1.
Consent agenda correspondence. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters being referred to proper departments and being disposed or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
I'll move the resolution.
Second the resolution.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah. We're not voting on any of these,
No. So what happens is they're asking us to support them and run our own ordinances or resolutions if we suggest or want to. So that's why I told you last council meeting, there was like 4 or 5 on there also, to make sure you read them and to go over them. If anybody wants anything on the agenda, please do so, or refer it to the clerk. So we're not voting on, we're just saying that we read them and that was it.
I got no problem with that.
Any public comment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
It's also on here, Dave, for Mr. Solomon's.
You want to move that?
Well, it's here right now, on correspondence.
What is it?
Yeah, but
The applicant.
the application's all the way down.
I'd like
the
to make a
bottom.
motion to move it up.
Well, make a motion.
I'm making a motion to move the request, the applicant for the, to serve on the West
Letter-
Warwick Pension
letter O.
Board.
I'll second.
So we're making a motion to move letter O up. I have a motion and second. All in favor to move
Aye.
letter O up?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now I just need you to read letter O. Actually, I need somebody to move it off the table.
I'll make a motion to take it off the table.
I'll second.
Move it, take it off the table, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now I'll make the motion.
Appointment for the West Warwick Pension Board. Resolved that the town council hereby appoints the following individual to serve as a member of the West Warwick Pension Board for the town of West Warwick with a term to expire 11/18/2021.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
We didn't know.
Well, Ralph is here tonight. He's actually coming on up right now. Come on up, Ralph. Reason why we moved this up is he came to the meeting last night, which was the Parks Recreation Committee, and he spent the night here, and he actually waited till the very end. So, Ralph, just want to come up, give us a little brief background of yourself, and tell us why you're interested in being on the pension board.
Well,
Just state your name and address for the record.
my name is Ralph Salmonese, and I live at 650 East Greenwich Avenue,
Well, if you can move that mic
Quaker
down.
Valley condominiums. And I volunteered, I would like to be on the West Warwick Pension Board because I think I can offer something to the board because of my background, my education, my experience. I worked for the state of Rhode Island for 34 years, and I was on the executive board of my union, Local 580, Service Employees International Union, and was on the board of our state employees retiree group that's affiliated with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Because of all that experience and all of what we had to go through with our pension problems, I became much more familiar with the necessity and appreciation for having knowledge and concern about pension matters. Also, after I retired from the state, I founded an investment club which became affiliated with the national organization called the National Association of Investment Clubs. And I founded and was president of a regional chapter of that organization. The regional chapter covered Connecticut and Rhode Island and had 3,000 members. And I was active for that for a number of years, from 1987 till 2006. And that's I gained some additional experience in investment matters, which also I think would help me if I was able to serve on the board. If you choose to have me serve on the board, I'd be very much honored to serve on that board.
Thank you. Any questions for Ralph?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
If somebody wants to move.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mrs. Salmonese to the pension board.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. We've already had the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations, Ralph.
Congratulations,
and
Ralph.
Good luck on that
Thank you.
board.
Thank you.
Jason Licciardi. Yeah.
Sorry.
H.
H, yes. Fiscal year 2019, July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2019 proposed budget. Resolved that the town council hereby adopts the within budget as the fiscal year 2019, July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019 proposed budget to be presented to the voting public to be held on Thursday, May 17th, 2018. Town budget, $97,014,882. Estimated revenue other than property tax, $31,642,412. Total estimated to be raised from property tax, $65,372,000. 470.
I'll move the resolution for discussion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Again, the only thing we're voting on here tonight is to let the taxpayers and the voters of West Warwick, whether or not they want this budget or not, this lets them vote on it for the all-day referendum on May 17th. That's the only thing that's before us tonight, unless anybody has any changes to this budget, but I don't think there's any major changes going on. Any questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
I'm for moving the budget forward, but I am opposed to the budget.
Okay. Angelo?
Yeah, I'm voting to move the budget forward for the people to decide, but I'm also against this budget.
Jay?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
No, it's
five yeses,
5 yeses.
but they're opposed to the budget.
Rhode Island Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
Elaine? Good evening.
So the first item I have on the agenda is to approve the 2017 CDBG application. It's for 1.245 this year. And I
Hold on
think,
1 second, Elaine. All right, go ahead.
there's a little bit of confusion as to how the CDBG grant is applied for. We are not funded directly through HUD. We are funded as a state pass-through grant. So our grant is submitted to the state, and we're awarded funds from the state. The state receives their funds directly from HUD. So when the application is put together, it's really not by ward, it's by revitalization districts. And those districts are compiled by the census tract block groups that are 51% or greater low mod income. So we generally will pick the projects that are in the greatest need for the town. But with respect to the infrastructure, Arctic in particular, there are many roads within the Arctic Revitalization District that really need repaving, resurfacing, sidewalks, whatever. But it's my job to put in an application that's most competitive against other cities and towns. And in order to do that, we allocated funds for the Shippey Avenue Drainage Project. And the reason why that activity is most competitive is because the town already has set aside $500,000 from Mr. Messier's road bond account. And then we have additional funding from the CDBG Disaster Relief Fund in the amount of $200,000. So that compiled with the $500,000 makes this one particular activity very competitive, which hopefully will carry the other activities along. So while there may be a need for repaving and resurfacing, this was the better activity, and it was my decision to put it in. And I consulted with the state, and they said, basically, you're crazy if you don't put it in because it has a great chance of receiving funding.
What got removed?
Nothing got bumped.
Okay.
The only difference is there's not going to be a lot of paving going on for roads that may or may not need it, but there will be an infrastructure project that will benefit a lot of people to alleviate some flooding.
How much longer will we be on that project? I mean, that was supposed to be started by spring of this year.
It was supposed to be started by spring of this year, and there was a delay in getting some easements. There was a delay almost at every step of the project. So we're basically going to be ready to move forward. I'm putting in this application requesting a pre-agreement, which means we can go ahead and sign contracts before we have a fully signed contract with CDBG. I don't know if we're going to get funded. That remains to be seen. But we have a deadline of December 31st to complete the project with the state.
So Elaine, we have $700,000 right now towards that project.
Yes, $500,000 from Mr. Messier's
Yeah.
road bond, $200,000 of disaster relief funding from CDBG, which is a totally separate
Yeah.
pot of money from this.
So we're putting in, so it's 700 we have currently right now in here.
And we're asking for $500,000.
So what if, just say we get the 500 and it
Then the
doesn't,
base bid and the add-ons will be able to be done at the same time, and the project will be completed.
so what if it doesn't cost all that money?
We already have the bids.
So it's gonna, all right. Okay.
And that project is long overdue. No, Mr.
It's definitely
Control and the
long
crowd will agree with
overdue.
that.
And, you know, once we already have, obviously, the bids in place, we know who the low bidder is. Once we move forward with the council awarding the bid, then I think there's a plan to have a neighborhood meeting to
Yeah,
discuss
absolutely. And me
the
and Mark
project
talked
and what
about
will
that.
happen. We have authorizations for easements in place. Those easements have already been drafted, and they just need to be signed and recorded.
We've been waiting to have the neighborhood meeting because I know these people have been giving their hopes up for
Yeah,
years.
we've
So I
been
want to
putting
wait till
that
it's
off
like ready to
Because we
go.
want to make sure that
Absolutely.
we have all the information that you need,
Yeah.
so that you don't have a
I want it to
meeting-
be factual, not just
Correct.
hopefully this happens. Absolutely.
Any other questions? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
We never actually moved the resolution, did we?
Yeah.
We did?
I moved it.
All right, apologize.
Ayes have it.
I'm next on the agenda, too.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Increase maximum housing rehab grant amount, sponsored by Council President Goslin.
Why do these things come up sideways?
It's the way they scan.
Feed them in that way.
How do you read it? You turn it around, the computer flips it the other way.
You have to put the no rotate on. There's a button you can stop your screen from rotating.
I just read it sideways. Just read it sideways. It's easy.
Or you can do what Jay's doing, reading the sideways.
On my phone, it
I need
doesn't
somebody
switch
to
as
move this
much.
resolution.
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second.
Move in second, discussion? Elaine?
So basically, those are the guidelines for our housing rehab program that are currently in place. Right now, we have a $15,000 maximum, which is almost always being advanced to either 17 or sometimes even 20. The cost of labor and materials have gone up, the projects are getting bigger, so we're just gonna increase it a little bit to 17.5 and see if that will help us.
Any questions for Elaine? Any public comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Amplifier loudspeaker license, resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. Station Fire Memorial Foundation, attention Gina Russo, date May 20, 2018, location 211 Cohasset Avenue, time 1 to 3 p.m.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Move in second, discussion?
So this is basically, I think we already approved this back in February, but that got canceled or moved forward, rescheduled because of the weather, so we need to do it again.
Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. Fight Factory, attention Franco McCauley Jr., date May 12, 2018, location 3 Bridle Avenue, Unit 31, time 6 p.m. to 11:30 p.m.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Move in second. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. Portuguese American Citizens Club, attention Ray Enos Jr., date May 25th, 2018, and May 26th, 2018, location 97 East Main Street, time 8 p.m. to midnight.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? Any public comment? Again, this is just, they have an event every year for Memorial Day. It's the second or third year in a row. No issues, so. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Theatrical performances, shows, and exhibition license. Resolved that the town council hereby approves the following application. Brawl for It All, attention Richard Caviello, date July 13th, 2018, location West Warwick Civic Center, Thomas A. Lamb Fieldhouse, 100 Factory Street, time 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Lori?
The only thing that on the application it says Thomas A. Fieldhouse. With it being July, I found a company that comes in, they put a flooring over the ice. I think that might be, I mean, it's the same amount of people that'll be in both buildings. I think it might work out a little bit better there. It's still kind of up in the air with it, but I just think that it would be a lot cooler in July to do it in the ice rink versus.
Doing the event next door, is that what you
Yeah,
said? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So they just come in and they lay a flooring over the ice.
Have you checked with the renters on this?
Yes, I told them
Are they-
about it, so.
Are you for that?
Condition
So,
fight.
yeah. So, and I mean, there's locker rooms there, there's, I mean, it's still up in the air, like, I'm still working on the pricing for the flooring, so I just don't want anyone to come back and say it says Thomas A. Lane Fieldhouse, and we end up having it in the Benny Regera ice rink. That's the only issue, though.
Okay.
But the
Yeah.
promoter's
still-
paying for the
Yes.
flooring?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Good? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Any other questions?
I have a question. When we're voting in about 10 seconds.
You're talking about
Are we-
theatrical performances.
Yeah. When
This
we're
is
vote-
just the
when
boxing.
we're voting, though, this vote, obviously, I'm not for alcohol on town property. I'm for the event. So, 100% for the event. I think it's a great event. I'm not for alcohol on town property with your event, any other event, so please don't take it personal. I think it just, in the long run, I think it has the chance to bite us. So, if I'm voting for this and alcohol is a part of this, I'm voting
I
against
think
it.
this one is just the theatrical
So-
license.
Yeah, but it's still part.
It's still part of the
What
event.
he's saying
Okay,
is
all
still
right.
part of the same event.
Okay, and that's why I'm not for the event. If there was no alcohol, I'd be right there with you, but. So-
Any other comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye, opposed.
4-1.
Update 41 and 43 Industrial Lane, sponsored by the town manager.
Thank you. At the last meeting, we had a brief discussion, and decision was to, or this discussion was to have an update for this particular issue, 41 Industrial Lane. And again, this issue came before the council in, I think it was December 19th. Some issues that were raised, some questions raised about a specific facility, as well as the town's process in the approval of this facility. And it's taken, it's been a while, as you know, part of the time the building official was unavailable due to an approved leave. During that time, I was compiling, or information was being compiled as to review some of these concerns, as well as some other information. The building official has returned from his leave, and I've been reviewing the information with him, the information that I've compiled, as well as reviewing it with him. And as a result of that, the review, which has been very good, very, very constructive, for me, that some additional questions have come up during our discussions that need some clarification or some additional research. So at this time, I am still working on this issue. I know it's an important issue. It's been brought to our attention sometime. But again, there was some delays of review, as we mentioned. Clearly, this is an issue that needs to be addressed, and I am addressing it. And my plan has been and will be to present the council with a memorandum about this issue, because it involves a number of things. And once that information is presented...
Speak up, Ernie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Basically, again, where we are is I've been reviewing the information that I have been compiling with the building official. And it's been a very good and constructive process, because some things were discussed that I needed some, as a result of this, some additional questions have been broached during our discussions that we need to review a little further in more detail. So as a result of that, my intent is still the same as it has been, to prepare a memorandum for the council outlining the questions, concerns, as well as my review and opinions and recommendations going forward on matters such as these. So that's where I am at the present time, and once this memorandum is presented, I'll present it to the council, and then I'd present it to any interested parties who may be interested in the situation. So that's my update as where we are.
Any questions from the council? How much more time?
Okay, that would depend on receiving some of the answers that I have. I mean, I can, so put it this way, one of the issues that, we have other priorities working on the budget. That is hopefully, this part of the budget is behind us. So I have time to devote to this, as well as the building official has time to devote to this. So I would believe this will be done very soon, because this is something that we want to bring to, prepare the memo, distribute it, and move on to other things. So I know this has been pending, so we are going to try to resolve this as soon as we can.
What does that mean, though, very soon?
Well,
Because we continuously get,
I know.
we continuously get
I mean-
emails from Mr. Reed, which, I'm not saying don't email us, but
Well-
the emails are very lengthy, and there's a lot of, I would say, important information in
Right.
those emails. And some of them are accusatory of the town.
Correct.
And we're asked to read them and reply that we read this. I think I know where this is going. So, but this is all we have, is from what the Reeds are giving
Well-
us. So I'm looking a little foolish personally. You two were in a meeting with the Reeds and Ernie. I wasn't. I don't know what came out of that meeting, but I'm asked to read all these reports. And some of them, it's eye-opening if this is the case. So where do we go from here with this?
So that meeting entailed the same documentation, everything you got emailed to you
Yeah.
was given to us that day. And the town manager at that time said he would look into it. At that time, our building official was
Right,
out
I know that.
LOA, which we know that.
Right.
So that's where we had left that day.
Right.
But,
And-
I agree, with Councilman Licciardi. I mean, this is getting kind of old. If it wasn't true, I'll address it, put it to bed. If it is true, there's some damaging statements about certain individuals that need to be addressed immediately,
Right.
not 6, 7, 8 months. I'm just sick of hearing this.
I understand.
I got things to do, and this, to me, is only pushing, and I'm gonna say the same thing, like pushing the budget down the road, you're kicking the can. And, I'm right at my limits with this,
I
to be
understand.
honest with you. And if we don't have a building official that wasn't here at the time, then the town doesn't shut down. We still should do business as usual. So,
We do.
I don't wanna hear that for an excuse, number one. So, I say, whether it's true or false, whether the Reeds are right, the Nunes are right, I have nothing to do with that civil suit. But what this is putting us in is there's a town issue, many town issues.
Correct.
And that's what I'm concerned about.
I understand it, as am I. And the functioning of any department is of paramount importance to myself. And I want to make sure that what I present to the council is accurate. And when you're reviewing a situation like this, you have a question, and it could lead to another question and another question. So I understand your frustration, and I appreciate your patience. This will be done as soon as possible, and this will be a priority for myself. And I will have this to the council very shortly.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Moyo, 132 Rollingwood Drive, North Kingstown, Rhode Island. I am here on behalf of the Reeds. As Ernie said, I think it was back in December, we brought this before the town council's attention. I sat in that meeting with Councilman D'Amico, Council President Goslin, and the town manager on Martin Luther King Day. We were very grateful that you guys came in. We were told that the building official wasn't present. And we respected that, we understood that, we knew the budget was a priority, we understand all that. But I think we were told in email format, I think we were told in just stopping in the town manager's office, that by April 30th, we would have a written report. Today's April 30th, and there's no written report. I think as Councilman Padula has indicated, as well as Councilman Licciardi, that we're just kicking the can down the road. It is pretty simple, and I will ask these simple questions because now that it is public comment for this issue, I feel like answers should be given back to us. We allege that no environmental permit was sought, no stormwater management plan was submitted, and I ask anyone has that document surfaced, because we were told we got a complete record. So if that didn't exist, then the owner of that property should be either fined or held accountable for that, or simply just be told you need to provide this. We're not looking for anyone to just torture anyone or kill anyone, but every single person in the town that tries to file for a building permit should go through the same guidelines. That's why the guidelines are created, and I just can't understand why we can't get this information. And to keep saying, well, I'll write a memo to the town, and believe me, I'm a businessman, I have 9,000 things that come across my desk, but the town manager serves at the pleasure of the council, as does the solicitor. You guys appointed him, the taxpayers pay their salary. Although I'm not a resident of the town of West Warwick, when I reviewed the budget and $30 million comes from state aid, there's 1 million people in the state of Rhode Island, that means $30 for me, and I guarantee I represent my family, that's thousands of dollars that I invest in this town. In addition to that, whenever the Reeds have contacted me, or anybody in this has contacted me to donate plants, because I own a nursery, I'm more than happy to do so. It's frustrating, beyond frustrating, to be told that it's coming, it's coming. Christmas is coming. It's just, at what point do you 5 individuals, as elected representatives, we're not trying to throw any of you under the bus. You're only as good as the information given to you, but it's just, it's time and time after again, we're told it's coming. So can I would like a definitive date assigned from the town council onto the town manager, because there's no sense in John and Derek and all of us sending emails if they're going to cyberspace. I mean, there's just no response. So will any
Don't
of
feel
you-
bad, I send emails, I don't get any response either.
I understand that, Councilman Padula, but there's serious issues at stake.
Mr. Moyer, I think that we all want to see this wrapped up, trust me. There was the unforeseen circumstance of the building official being out. I think that we would have had these answers much sooner if we didn't have to deal with that circumstance. I think that the manager is doing his best to get this information. What he's saying to us is that, you know, one answer is begging another question, and he needs answers to those questions. So to just ask one more time for a little bit more patience. I know you guys have been extremely patient, but given what the manager has said to us, we ask that you be just a little bit more patient. And, you know, as for a specific timeline, I mean, I don't know. I don't exactly know, like to say 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It seems that would be difficult based on what Ernie has said. I mean,
I don't
maybe
think
the
so.
president wants
You
to-
review the documents. You see what's before you.
He's waiting for
Just
answers.
answer the question. I mean, what about the question you asked?
One at a time.
Wait a minute. I say by the next council meeting, we have answers. We have that the council's notified before the next council meeting. I think that's significant enough time.
Ernie, do you think you
At
could
least
procure those
answer-
answers in 2 weeks?
Hold on, this is my opinion. There may be something you may not answer,
Yeah,
but
you're gonna have the
you
majority of
have
the answers.
Majority of the answers, let's at least
correct.
get those.
Yeah.
And then
Fine.
we can go from there. If
That's
there's
correct.
something that you can't answer at that point, we can let them know there's not something we can't answer. It's just,
That's fine.
it is, and I agree with the rest of the council.
I
It's getting
understand.
ridiculous. It's been going on since December, and, you know, I feel for the Reeds, I feel for whoever's involved. I just want it done and over with,
Yeah,
because
I
like you
agree.
said, every week, every 2 weeks, we get an email with 4 or 5 files on it, and we're sitting here reading and reading and reading,
Okay.
and
fine.
we're not even getting the answers. So
Okay.
at least the council needs to know the answers also, because
course.
like you said, if there's situations that weren't properly done, that needs to be addressed. Our policies have to be looked at, our
Correct.
procedures have to be
Correct.
looked at. And Ernie, this, I'm sorry if I'm taking this out on you, but again, this needs to be addressed in general, because even before, this was going on before you were even here, so.
That's part of the, yes.
But isn't there just, I mean, maybe I'm thinking too simple here. Can't you just go and take a file, take whatever file it is, take the file, open the file, everything's there. If there's stuff not there or done wrong or whatever, you address it piecemeal.
God forbid if he
to me,
quit.
I mean,
Well,
am I
God
thinking
forbid if
too
he would've quit,
am
what
I
do we do?
thinking too
Shut down?
simple?
Don't have any answers for anybody?
No.
Start over.
But
No.
most of the documents that are in the file are prior to Mr., is it Dumont, DuPont? I don't want to mispronounce. Dumont, even being the building
Right.
official. So I'm not sure what guidance Mr. Dumont can even give to the town manager. This is it really needs to be an investigation into the building department as a whole, and all of that happened pre-building officials. So why it's not stopping and why we're not taking action is mind-boggling.
Mr. Moyer, one thing that we did say to you, if you're not happy with us, you can go to the state building official any time of the day
Well-
and give them the same documentation with the same request.
Mr.
They can
Goslin?
start looking at it.
I will tell you this, that I personally, along with Mr. Derek Reed, drove right to the Rhode Island Building Official's office, and you know what they told me? They will not talk to any private citizen. They have to hear it from the local building official. In addition, some of our issues were regarding fire inspections. They will not talk to a layperson. They have to hear it from the town. So when we sat down with one of the chief fire marshals, showed him the entire records that we got from you guys through the open record request, and they said to me, oh my God, the same inspection paper that was used during the Station Night Fire tragedy was used on this building. That is an insult to 100 lost lives and all of those that suffer. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And I feel
I
bad.
can tell you honestly that we've heard from the station fire people, specifically, they've called the town, and they don't have the same feeling, and they want no part of this. They want their name not even brought up into it. So I just want to make that clear tonight.
Okay.
Also.
And that's
They've made
fine.
that clear to us.
Okay, and that's fine, but for me, going back to the $30 million of state aid that comes here, how about the $10 million lawsuit that the state paid out to those victims?
Yes.
You know, that's.
Town paid that this
Town, I'm sorry, the town, excuse me, I'm sorry. That's their money, that's these taxpayers' money, it's
Brian, I agree
unacceptable.
with you wholeheartedly. We agree 100%. This is something that we agree on, 100%. We want to get you the answers. We want it settled. We want it off our
Right.
plate. This is something we don't want to be dealing with anymore.
Believe me, I've got 3 lovely children at home. I bill myself out at $150 an hour as a landscape architect. The last thing I want to do is try to find something that's going wrong. But my license, part of it, I have a code of ethics. When there's environmental issues, that's my interest here. We filed a complaint before DEM. The town of West Warwick believes and adopts Clean Water Act, but yet no one from the town's building official goes down there and sees solid waste within 15 feet of the riverbank. I mean, the Patuxent River is a gem inside the town of West Warwick.
You said DEM was informed,
DEM has been down there.
so.
They've done an inspection.
They oversee us.
They do oversee you.
So what have they found?
They have found that there are serious violations down there. The problem with bureaucracy is that they will not give me any information until an official violation has been made before the property owners. Once that happens, it then becomes public record. If I don't hear from the DEM folks, I already have contacted the EPA. I will contact whoever I need to contact to fix the environmental issues down at that property. It is awful for our environment. And that's my true passion in this. All that gobbledygook with all the lawsuits and crap, yeah, they're my friends. I could give a rat's patoot about all that. I care about the fact that this is not right. It happens in the town of Johnston. It happens in the town of West Warwick, North Kingstown. It's wrong. And as long as I can breathe air and I can do something about it, I'm going to try to do something about it. So I would appreciate if you do set a deadline by next meeting. We heard it here tonight.
But again, next meeting is the financial town meeting.
No, it's not until
Well, no,
22nd.
no,
We have a
22nd.
council meeting the 22nd.
Ernie, did you want to comment on this?
No, that's fine. I agree. I will have everything that I have that's accurate and up what I have at that time. If there's questions I don't have, then are answered, I will have it.
Just clarify for a minute, this is
It's
important. So
21 days from now.
It'd be 21
May
days.
27th.
Correct, or before.
And
That's fair, that's reasonable,
it's May
right?
22nd, and will it be an agenda item at that point? So there is more public comment?
Yeah, well, can we
I
make-
prefer, honestly, we can have it on the agenda, but also, if it's done with Ernie, that he can have the meeting with the Reeds and explain what he found and what he worked on, what he resolved, and also give it to the council, what he worked on and what he resolved and what happened. In my opinion.
John and Derek are my clients.
Is your memo gonna be done by the 22nd? Or is it gonna be, I'm sorry, 21st, or prior to that?
It'd be prior to the council meeting, so maybe the 21st or 20th or 19th, but it will be done before the next meeting.
I'd like to get it as soon as possible, because if I
Yes.
can review some answers there, I might have
Right.
questions before the
Yeah.
council.
And-
Correct.
And I'd like to suggest that it's given to the town clerk so that it can be scanned in and posted on the agenda as the letter, other letters are done, periodically when things are submitted under correspondence, licenses, things like that, so that the entire town can see what went on. There are a lot
So
of
you want
people.
all the information that,
I want to know
Is that
what
what you're
was,
asking?
yes, please. I want to know what was wrong, what was right. If nothing's wrong, tell me I'm wrong and I go home and I never come back. But I know there's something wrong here, so I just I want the answers and I want action taken.
All right, Mr. Reed?
Sorry, John.
Thank you, Brian. The only thing that I ask of you guys, and it's very simple, all right, there's 2 building folders, okay, that any of you can get at any time, okay? You don't have to ask for public records unless Mr. Williamson says you do, okay? You can go get this building file, and you can review it yourself. If you really want to get excited about this thing, go to the very last one and look at the fire inspection. If that doesn't get you heated up, nothing will, okay? Because it was so lazily done, okay? First of all, the buildings never had fire inspections, which you'll find in there, okay? Then at the 11th hour, a general fire inspection was done. It was all penciled in, and there were some violations, so they were checked. Whoever did it had so much energy that they photocopied that same paper, crossed off the disapproved, and now approved them. This is an official fire inspection, and this is why Brian said, the state fire marshal quoted the station fire. And this all happened because we were looking for other documents pertaining to our legal issues. These buildings we have no legal issues with. We stumbled on these papers researching other stuff. And as we started looking through it, okay, you are gonna find the most amazing things you've ever seen in your life as far as building goes. And I'm sure the town manager can attest to that, okay? Half the stuff, more than half of it, on both buildings, had never even been signed off on. It was an inspection report sent out, and of course, whoever's up in the, sets the guy's agenda for the day, such and such a place, blah, blah, blah. Approved. Who approved it? 30, 40, 50 papers the same way. Building application, permit applications applied for, okay? On a commercial rental building, all right, 5 separate units on one, 5 separate units on the other, are all comprised as one, okay? And this might get your curiosity to go get these folders. On the very first building, there was a cease and desist ordered, okay? And it was a general letter that went out to the Noonses, okay? I guess that didn't work. So a subsequent one went out, but it was registered mail. And also, the state fire marshal was very curious about this. As we were going through the file, that one got CC'd to our solicitor. And somehow there's nothing left in the file. It ended there. So our concerns are not with those particular buildings, but we're lay people. If we looked at these documents and got them and found all these issues, what are you people gonna do? And God forbid, okay, something happens there, or I'm sure you're gonna find a whole bunch more if you do a forensics on the files up there. It's all gonna come back to us again. And the biggest problem is, I mean, business is business. Most of you guys, I know I get along with you out there. And here, this is business. You know, collateral damage, I can't help it. All right? But it's your job to protect these people and all the people watching. That's what you got elected to do. And when these issues are brought up to you, to spend the amount of time that it's taken to go through these files is ridiculous. Each and every one of you could go through those files in an hour. And here we are.
I did. 45 minutes.
You went through it?
45 minutes.
Is what I'm saying, have you seen what I told you?
Yes.
Okay? It's bad, isn't it?
It's concerning to me.
Very concerning.
Very concerning.
And now that it's in the public and has been in the public, God forbid something happens, who's gonna be liable for this?
The taxpayer.
No.
But what's another?
The town
Yeah,
fathers.
the town fathers are bonded by the town.
No, then.
So the
whoever.
taxpayers pay.
But forget about the monetary.
For our ignorance, you pay.
What about the end result? Okay, somebody gets hurt and you guys didn't do anything about it? You go home and look in the mirror and sleep well? I don't care whose property that is. I could care less. That issue has nothing to do with my litigation. None whatsoever. This is the way that this town is being run and was run. He wasn't here. The poor building inspector, he's probably gonna take the boot just so somebody gets to pay for it. I don't think he was involved in it at all. Because the last CO was stamped, computer stamped. So I'm not so sure that poor guy even stamped it. So as you go through this thing, you may want to look at all the different signatures and kind of match them up, because they don't seem to work out too well. Did you notice that, Mr. Padula?
I'm not gonna say anything
Okay.
right now.
But do you agree that they should all look at these things?
Most definitely.
That's all you have to do. He should have, okay, and we suggested this, he should have gave it to the state and said, here, could you review these two files for me? Tell me what happened here. I'm new town manager. This didn't happen on my watch. I want to know what happened. Would that be a good resolve?
I said get it out of our hands.
Gets it out of your hands, makes it legitimate. All right?
I agree.
Same thing when we went to the fire marshal, okay? They're reactive, not proactive, which I don't get, but that's beside the point. All right? There was 6 or 7 of them, if I believe, Brian, sitting there at the table. They were in absolute shock that the same things are happening that happened in 2003. Same kind of reports, same thing. And in the final report from that fire, that's what the town was found guilty of. Inspections, reports, non-existent or missing documents. We're doing the same thing in 2018, guys. It's not right.
Mr. Reed, like I said, we still have to look into it. I agree with 99.9% of what you're saying. Okay, I asked questions about the building official's office. In my opinion, you call up for an inspection, whoever goes out and inspects it, that's fine. The last person who files that file should be looking at that, making sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and if they're not, they give it back to the building official to do his job.
And shouldn't there be statutes for every violation? Or no lot? Crack. There's statutes. I've read other officials' reports. They're done by statute and given to you so you know what violation you have. These are all chicken writing. And most of them, I don't know who's gonna end up owning them, but nobody signed them. All the documents are not signed. Anton, were they signed? I'll leave it at that.
Ernie, can we
I'm
get,
gonna read it. Most of you think this is personal because of my other issue. This has nothing to do, I got no gain, whatever happens up there, as far as the buildings go. I just found it, along with, when we're looking at records, I wanna sleep and they know that I brought it to you. So if something happens in the interim, I can go to bed. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ernie, can we all get copies of these files? Can you have copies made of these files? These
I mean, they're
files that
pretty big and maps, and I would just say go to the building office and
No,
review
just
them.
ask for it, they'll get them
All right,
for you.
all right.
Request it. Mary Ann, whoever's in charge of getting
Yeah, I'd
Anybody
like
who
a
wants
copy of
it,
that so I can.
get it to him. He don't
I
have
can
to,
read
do-
it.
he don't have
Thank
to
you.
go, looking for them. Just whatever there is available in the building's office, the fire department's office, every councilman should have it.
Yeah,
So
This,
whoever's
this point,
involved.
we should.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Just show you one thing. This is what I want you to leave. This is the official final fire report for that building.
This was the one that was done on December
Everything
30th,
pertaining to the
2017.
building,
After we told them that there was
41 to 43
no
Industrial
fire
Lane.
inspection with a CO condition.
Inspections, everything, the whole 9
See
yards.
anything
Get a,
that looks the
whoever's
same on both those
gotta
papers?
do it, get a packet for every councilman.
You just approved everything you disapproved.
From when it started.
Is it the same paper?
That I can't. It looks. Can't tell if that's.
Yeah, that would indicate that those were approved. They were corrections and they approved the corrections.
On the same paper?
Yeah,
Does the
Right,
initial
Emily?
one?
On the same paper?
correct.
Well, the chief's here, he can speak on that.
And then he initials it, right? Isn't that what he does?
One more thing.
Could we look at that?
So, So, Ernie, yes, they were not right, and then they fixed them, and then it was approved. The issue that the state fire marshal has is that when somebody makes a complaint to the fire marshal locally, they are supposed to state what the statute is, what's wrong with that, and what the remedy is. That is what, from, they told us, they being the state fire marshal's office, is what cost the town of West Warwick all the money back in the station fire, is that there were no guidelines stating what the infractions were.
Can you tell us, when did you meet with the state fire marshal?
Oh, my God, probably mid-February?
A couple of weeks before Martin moved to that.
No, it was after Martin Luther.
No, that's-
Yeah, we met with these folks, and then it was after that. And
I can't tell if that's ink or not ink. I can't.
The inspector's notes are all the same. You can tell by that. Nothing's taken out.
They're not written in the same exact line.
It looks like it's, they're the same thing.
Yeah, it's
you're
identical.
Same thing.
Yeah, they are.
That's what I said, I wasn't lying.
So 2118, they approved everything that was not on December 30th.
So
Meeting and
here's what I'm thinking.
So,
And this is just me thinking, I'm not the inspector. So he left this for Mr. Nunes or whoever, because it looks like somebody signed it down bottom. This here looks like this was part of his file as unapproved, so he took this paper down with him for his own record. Instead of rewriting out another one, he approved it. That's just my thought.
That's what the official paper is in the building envelope. But also, as a general inspection, during the whole construction of the building, there were no fire inspections. There was no final fire inspection. That is the whole building fire inspection. You're looking at it.
this is what you as councilman and Ernie as town manager should be upset with, is that this is not what the state wants towns doing. There's a proper protocol.
So how is somebody in the building?
How do you?
How is somebody in the building?
Somebody gave him a CO.
God knows.
And at the time that the CO was issued, that was not in
And
fire.
just-
There's only one person I can give a CO, gentlemen.
It's a building official, correct. So let me also say this, Mr. Licciardi. So that's 41 Industrial Lane, that's the new building. On 43 Industrial Lane, excuse me, the older building that they own, this same situation happened.
That I can speak on.
1 second, let me just
That I
finish
can
one.
speak on because the fire inspector was Mr. Pimentel at the time.
Correct,
And Mr. Nunes, the father.
correct.
They got it, and I got the phone call, I think the town got the phone call, I think the police department got, whoever else got the phone call. The two of them got it, let's put it this way. Ron Nunes is not liked by certain individuals of the fire department.
Understood.
He's down there doing the inspection, they get into a verbal confrontation, a
Understood.
fight, he threw him off the property. Ron Nunes then called the state fire marshal to have them inspect it. Now, where that inspection is, I don't know. If the state inspected it and didn't give the paperwork to the town, that's another whole story.
So I can tell you that we requested that because we heard that story, Council President, and the state fire marshal's office has no record of any fire marshal ever going down to said property. In addition to that, they just don't get why this is still going on. And it just, it doesn't make sense.
That's the only concern I have, hold on one second. The only concern I have is if the fire marshal's that concerned, have they contacted West Warwick?
Don't know.
That's the question I have. The chief's
one
back
item,
there shaking his head
the
no.
chief can confirm this. When the fire marshal goes to a property, he is not acting as an agent or an employee of the town of West Warwick. He's acting as the state fire marshal. So if the state fire marshal's office has been notified of this, you would think that the first thing they would do is notify the chief that your fire marshal's not doing his job. Have you been notified that the fire marshal's not doing his job by the
Up there
state?
for the record, chief?
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
And
but
believe
the
me,
point
we're
I'm trying
not
to make-
mad at the chief.
No, I'm not, it's not a
I
point
know
about
the
being
chief.
mad. It's not a point of, it's not a point, the point I'm just saying is, you said you went to the state fire marshal.
And I don't
John-
talk business
John
that
We didn't say one word
there were
about it.
6 or 7 guys, they all said the same thing, they all brought up the station fire. Now, if the state fire marshal's office heard what you guys said, and his fire marshal is technically an agent for the state under the statute, the first
We would've
person.
heard about it.
The first person I'm sure would have been hearing about it is the chief of our department saying that your fire marshal is not doing his job.
The fire marshal took a copy of that,
He
correct?
took a copy of
And
it.
what did he say to you guys he was gonna do?
He was going to contact the local fire marshal.
Who right now is who, chief?
That's
Fire
as-
Marshal
that's as far as we
Trafficante.
know.
I'm sorry, who?
That was the end of it.
Fire Marshal Lou Trafficante.
Okay, so did Lou Trafficante, to your knowledge, get notified by the state fire marshal that there was a problem with the way he's doing inspections, the way he's notifying, putting notice on, citing statutes, citing regulation? Has anything like that happened since February?
No.
All right. So here's my suggestion as far as today. Ernie's gonna get his thing done. Chief, contact the state fire marshal tomorrow to find out if there's been any issues as it pertains to Fire Marshal Trafficante's approach to his job, the way he does his job, or if there's been any complaints filed against him, or his record's not complete, or if he's not doing what he's supposed to, and maybe that can cut through the chase.
This is, I believe, I don't do this job.
No, I understand that, but Chief
But
Traffic, I mean,
this is
Fire
a,
Marshal
this is a working
Trafficante.
document. They
Understood.
go on the scene, and I don't know, but I believe there was something written out on this, if I'm not mistaken.
But I'm just
Ernie
saying, if
would
the
have
state,
all
if the state
paperwork.
fire marshal is as concerned and there hasn't been a contact back to you, why don't we contact them to find out what's really
Who
going
did you
on?
talk to?
I got interrogated by 8 people because when I first sat down with them, I thought I was like being interrogated by the FBI until they finally realized that I was there with some
Right, so
knowledge.
let's go from a different angle. Find out,
I'll find
as
out.
of the
I have
February,
his business card.
provide Chief Barris with the person you spoke to, as of the February date, find out what happened, what their concerns are, and whether or not they ever tried contacting Trafficante, yourself, or anybody else in the town. And then you'll have you can provide that information to Mr. Reed, Mr. Mulio, and also to Mr. Zemolinsky, so he can put it in his memo. But it would seem that there's a huge disconnect. If you guys went to the state fire marshal and they didn't do a thing about it, there seems to be a huge disconnect.
They don't want to
Because,
talk to us.
hold on, the state fire marshal was also sued, and the state of Rhode Island was also sued. And the state of Rhode Island paid a hell of a lot more money than the town of West Warwick did.
Right.
So what you're claiming that the town is on, or could be liable for, so is the state fire marshal. So if you notified them of a problem that wasn't being taken care of locally, they're just as bad, based upon the allegations.
So I asked you as, from legal expertise, who do I need to contact to get the state fire marshal's fire lit? No pun intended. I'll contact the, I've already contacted the
governor's
Attorney
office.
General.
Go to the governor's office.
I'll be happy to. They
All
don't,
right, but
they
the
don't
point I'm
respond to
trying-
emails. This is
But
the
point I'm
problem.
trying to get at is, if you've made a challenge to what happened at a local level to the next level, and this next level, the state didn't do anything with it, that causes concern. Wouldn't you agree?
I do.
Okay.
I
now,
think it
so
comes back
Chief
to
Barris,
politics.
provide Chief Barris with the name of the person you spoke to or the 7 guys that interrogated you.
Yes.
He can contact them tomorrow to find out if there's been any complaints made against, what's Trafficante's rank?
Trafficante or Manny, assistant.
Okay, see what's going on.
Okay.
And that way that can be addressed probably sooner, because Ernie's gonna be doing the same thing. He's not gonna have those contacts, but the chief does.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the guidance because we've hit roadblocks, so, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Do you
you.
agree that maybe you should hand this stuff over to the state and let them go through the files? Do you have a consensus on it that makes
I
sense?
personally don't disagree.
I think so.
Again,
I think so at this
yeah.
point. Well, no,
But I can tell you right now, you may not get your answer by the
argument,
22nd.
or the point I just made about the state fire marshal goes along with the state building official. If the state building official has a problem, what's been going on in West Warwick, and the town's building official hasn't responded, how come he hasn't reached out to the manager or anybody else to
That was
relay?
only the fire department that was contacted.
I thought you indicated you said you went to the,
Yeah, they said
you guys
they
went to the state.
They wouldn't even talk.
I know, but the point,
Out of that room. They said, we need to hear from the building official. Tell me, I'm sorry, David.
No, it's all right.
all right. But anyway, I think we can probably cut through most of this if we can just find out who was discussing what at what point in time, because that's gonna make your memo that much easier. I would hope.
So 22nd would be, but I will say, Mr. Manager, if you do want to get it off your plate and out of the town's plate after you do your initial inspection, I have no problem with you giving to the state. Now, the only thing is, Mr. Reed, I just want to say, once it's out of our hands and it's in the state's hands and we sent it over to them, then we might not get an answer from them for months.
Well, then it takes it on, I mean, I got a million other things to do besides that.
Hey.
If he takes it and goes to the state with it, then it becomes your job to get the state to give you the answers. And we don't have to come here asking you for answers.
Thank you.
The meeting is the 20, we don't have a meeting on the 15th, it's the 22nd.
15th is the town financial meeting.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Town managers report?
Thank you. I want to mention this evening that the town will be advertising for the Director of Public Works position. We're reviewing the current job description as well as an ad will be placed in the appropriate forums, for that position. And again, this is certainly no reflection on our acting DPW Director, Freddie Gill, who's done a great job doing two jobs, the Director's position and the Assistant's position. But for a position like this, it's my belief that it should be advertised and received, whatever candidates apply and review and make a recommendation to the council as to the best qualified candidate that is in our applicant pool. So that'll be being done very shortly.
Is that it?
Yes.
Any other questions for the manager? Thank you.
Well, just one thing for the manager. Ernie, I sent an email about that pole that was gonna be moved. Do you have a follow-up on that with the grid?
Well, we have, I went out with Joe and looked at the pole and the site, and I believe that's been on a list to review with them, but I can follow up on that.
And while we're on the report, Clyde Bridge, they should start
Correct, yeah.
this Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Back up
Thursday, yes.
Wednesday or Thursday. So, a couple of different scenarios happened. They did find extra structural damage and waiting for the state to approve it. So once we get that's approved, they're starting back up, and plus they were called off to another site.
So it's probably delayed a little, it's not gonna be done by Labor Day, looking like.
Lucky if we done by 2020, the way they're going.
2020.
There'll be a sign there saying they're under budget though.
Yeah.
Upcoming appointments, Technology Committee, Sewer Use Board of Review, Pension Board, West Warwick Public Library Trustees, Board of Tenant Affairs, Patuxent River Authority, Planning Board, Zoning Board. Public comment. Anything from the council?
Yeah, I want, can we get on the next agenda, the Recreation Committee is meeting.
They met last night.
No, but they're gonna meet again on, what's the date?
We're meeting again on May 13th,
On May 13th, and we're gonna come up with a
before the Monday.
Monday, we're gonna come up with a consensus of which company to hire for the playground. So if we could put it on the agenda for the council to approve the company that will build the playground on Factory Street, so if we could put that on the agenda.
So I meant to come to the meeting last night also, and Dundamis reached out to me once again for the grant that they applied for the playground that they want to put in at River Point Park. They asked, there's an additional grant that they can apply for that also puts on equipment for the elderly. Exercise equipment and everything else, part of the playground. So it also gives, it's not just a child's playground, it's an adult playground also. Does the council have any issues with that? I told her I don't think the council would.
No.
Angelo, you had something?
I have a businessman that's doing a rehab job, and they have a playground. I sent a picture to the manager and the entire council. Pretty nice set, probably $100,000 they paid. It's like new. He also offered he would have it inspected by anyone that we have to have it inspected with, and he would pay out of his own pocket to do what he has to do to donate it to the town.
Just gotta, the only thing we need is a location, that's what we need to figure out where we wanna put it.
I mean, I looked in Natick, we have one there, it probably would fit, but what will we do with the one that's there? But I mean, it's free, he's offering, I think he's even offering the setup. He's a contractor,
Where's this playground now?
Connecticut.
I mean, we can take a look at it.
They sold the
I'll
land.
tell you what, we probably can put it in possibly River Point and make it an addition. I mean, we
Yeah.
can do that entire back, a real nice playground.
I mean, I hate to
We'd be
see, I
foolish
mean,
not to
I don't
take-
know how
to look
long
at it.
we have to get it, because it's a job that's gotta get done.
Is it something that would need to be inspected where it is currently? It's in place somewhere now, right?
Why don't we
Correct?
get all that information and
So
we'll
say,
get somebody to
get
go
all,
out there?
get all the literature, just to make sure that there's been nothing filed in any community
Injuries or-
about any problems with products liability, and then once that's cleared, obtain it, and then store it, and then
Yeah.
decide where you wanna put it. Especially if he's gonna give it to the town for free and it's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's not gonna
transported
cost
for
a
free.
dime.
But the only concern would be is whether or not there's been any type of litigation filed against a particular company regarding the brand or anything, because you don't want anybody.
Well, that's easy to find out.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that. All right, anything else from the council? Any other public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Jay, what time is that? Where is that?
Alan, was that your shortest meeting ever?
6:30, yeah. I don't, either